Chapter 2 of Ruby Speaks. Personhood is a drama. There was a monstrous tidal wave that washed over me. In this new country, I was invisible. I didn't like it. Tom came home once again, the second time in 9 months, drunk, my belly is large again. A letter had come from my mother today, letting me know that Mary had another girl. I hope my sister will write me soon. I can't tell her about Tom. She would be confused and sad. She is younger than me. Younger sisters have that nature. You can do anything, Ruby, anything. Her voice had sung in my head for so long. She has always known a different way. She and William were finally together. He was handsome, kind. He had very messy handwriting. I remember that. I saw the letter he had sent asking Mums and Dad for permission to marry Mary. Perhaps his breath is sweet, his temper calm. I hoped that he did not drink. I don't know when Tom started. I wished and wished and wished he would stop. He did not. I don't know. I just don't know. Not for many years. He found contentment, strength, focus, drive in the whiskey and the rum. I was not being smart there in that place, and I was not stupid either. Not stupid at all, and of course there was love. Isn't there always love? When he undressed me, I smelled the liquor. I heard the tears, sensed the passion, sensed his shame, his fear. His love for me was something I knew, but it was unkind, his tenderness fleeting. He liked me to be a stranger here. This pregnancy will be my last. This will be my last child, a son. Often women want sons. Not me. Women want sons resembling the father, I know. Not me, but I will birth a son. Mary, different and wild, wanted daughters. Yes, 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 this son will be my last certainty of a new way to live, birth, rebirth. It is good. With 5 children, I have had a lot of clothes to wash, and the cooking was endless, the cleaning eternal. They helped me, you know, the big ones. I was cruel at times when I needed their help, when I wanted to love. Mum's was like that, too. I still don't believe she can love, but I would not defy the logic of being a mother. I couldn't, even when I was tired, lonely, even when I hit with hand or belt or shoe. I loved, and I knew love, a powerful love. My beautiful, blue-eyed girl hated me. My version of love was narrow. Narrow on the outside, but it ran deep on the inside. Tom seemed to know this. I wished my children knew too, but I was tired, often. Even when I hit with hand or belt or shoe, I loved, and my actions drained me, sickened me. I knew I loved, I felt. I did not know how to unburden the strain I felt of not having enough money, not having enough time. My soul tore its way out, however. It tore its way out, and I learned not to be drained. I learned to be inspired, and I learned to dispel the anger. A fairy tale ending? A falsity, a fake? No, none. None of this for me. I stopped hitting, though, and I began to learn a new way. Slowly, ever so slowly it came. No one knew except Grace how the lack of these 2 things has affected my life, money and time. My family would not have wanted to know this. They would have been scared for themselves and for me. They would have felt that some whiff of burden, of dependency was coming their way. So they asked nothing, and I said nothing. I did not want to be perceived as a failure, as lazy, as less, and I would never let them know. never let them know what the days were like here. There was an intense degree of solitude that inspired. I just knew they would never have been able to show me how they thought badly of me, how much shame they owned because I had come here, where I am still, here in this new country. Only once, a time after Tom had stopped giving any support for the children, and I was at my wits' end, terrified, not knowing what to do, I asked Mums if I could go back home. For 2 weeks only, Mums. I will start over with the children. Can we stay at your home? The children are like children, I said to her. I know, but it won't be for long. I know, Mums, please. I cried, anticipating her wrath at the fact that I had left the country in the first place. I should have stayed, I said. I know, you were right. You were right. She would have wanted to hear those words. We don't have the room. If you were alone, maybe, but we don't have the room. And of course, because Tom was bad with money, I often was short or had none at all. I asked my cousin Lou for a small loan. She had told me that some money would be transferred into my account. How the relief came, how the relief went. When I went to the bank to withdraw the money, I was told by the teller that there was a note in the file saying that the payment was stopped. I took the $5, that was what I had in the account. I put it into an envelope with a note letting her know that I was paying for the service charge the bank had told me was owed due to the stop payment. I mailed it to her, and I walked back home. Knowing that me and my 5 children would have to fend for ourselves, character building is not easy, yet it is good. And we built, and we tore down, and we built yet again. Struggling, facing all that comes before you, your own demons, learning that in whatever manner, in whatever way possible, you are indeed alone, and that you have to learn to steer your way, beating a path into self-acceptance, into self-care. No one wants to know of your shames, not even you. Why should they? But you must, and you must learn so much more besides. But that was a time when I looked at myself in the mirror and saw a wounded creature, an incapable character, a sad soul. I did not know then that the capacity to face each day, each cause, each fact, harsh or not, was not elusive, not scarce, was not simply for others. My version of ripe love was fleeting. I was certain someone had told me this once. Love is fleeting, love is fleeting, love is fleeting, it does not last. Well, that is what it seemed to be that I remembered. Yet Grace loved me, unripe that I was on the outside. Maybe, she said to me, your love runs deep, deep inside, Ruby. A possibility. Once I did a strange thing. Before leaving my job at the little prosperous toy shop, I got it into my head that I would test my child, test her for my satisfaction, to make sure that I was teaching her properly, which meant for her own good, to make sure that she was learning to do things perfectly. A way of love. I put several grains of uncooked rice in an obscure place where I thought she would not find it. I put small clods of dirt under chairs. I moved several jars to different spots in the kitchen. I left the house with instructions to her to make sure the place was spotless when I returned. Hasty kisses goodbye. When I got back, inspected all of the places to see if she had indeed done a good job. Each and every spot was clean, was shiny, was spotless. I felt a sense of deep tiredness flow through me. If she had not found all of those places, I would have beaten her. She found them all, and I knew the anger that she had for me. I wanted her to love me, but I did not seem to know how to express, how to live with, how to define love. A soft love, tenderness. Time, however, was on my side, in a way. I was walking in my mind's eye with purpose, with pain. My stomach often hurt, my feet swollen. But my purpose was clear, my vision unimpeded. I loved Tom, I loved my children. I felt too young and too old for all of this, for all of not ever having enough to give. Palomo flies now. I was not comfortable about punishing my children, not really. I suppose in my version of love there was a place of dignity, of honor, of teaching a particular value, an important moral. Teaching my children was important. Was that not the simple fact and act of being a parent? And one that raised the children alone, the fact of having to heed the necessary jobs at hand, whatever they might be. My children didn't play much. Anna had started to dance ballet in her lovely pink dress, with the bright large bow in her hair, her black hair glistening, her eyes aglow. I did not have the money for lessons. Tom gave less and less, and instead of giving even a little money for the children, he gave me touches we both wanted. And then he left. Anna's tears had welled, but she said nothing when I told her that she could no longer dance ballet because she was not doing a good enough job in the house. A lie, a lie, a lie, another lie for love. She hugged me. With my fierce and tense body, scared, trapped, and she said, I did not like to go anyway. I wanted to slap her for not being thankful. Imagine not being thankful, as if it would make me feel less guilty, less stranded between wanting to cry and wanting to hide. She turned away, took up the broom, she started to sweep. The shadows of too many black rainbows crowded into me. I wanted color. How I wanted color. My own mother used to work hard, my father too. I was tired a lot. I was not with anyone. I was alone a lot. Mary used to play a lot, have many friends, smiled, her curly-headed, big brown Shirley Temple smiles. Joy was of her, gladness too. And I swept and I cleaned. I hated to have her around me. She was just a child, 5 years younger, bouncy, happy, annoying to be around. 5 years is a lot of difference when you are 15 years old. A big sister does not need a little one around her. In my mind's eye, a place I go to often now, I wished she were here today. My day will be full, but her smile would tell me of worlds of ideas I don't place stock in any longer. Perhaps I could try. Here comes my big boy. I must teach him English now. All of my children will keep English. My Spanish is bad. They will keep English, and they will have Spanish too. Why am I here? I wondered this a great deal. Why did the answer really matter so much anyhow? I asked myself so many times not to talk to myself, not to whisper these questions, not to ask any questions at all. But I could not stop myself. I was good at asking questions, not so terribly good at answering them. Answers change, at times growing larger, at times diminishing. My children ask me a lot of questions. My children are so very, very bright. I didn't have the right answers. I just had answers, and I often felt frustrated and felt so terribly empty, so uncertain, frightened to fly off, to burst out. Perhaps I should try, I thought on one occasion. Try. My main concern was food, work, cleaning, studying. Not for me, for my children. I wondered if I was tired too much. But it really didn't matter at all. Tom thought he saw a great opportunity here in this new place. I loved him deeply, deeply, deeply. I wanted to be free from my family, wanted independence, my man, my husband. He did not give me a choice. Women. We do not have the same scope of choices as men, you know. We need subtlety and grace and focus and underlying streams of fresh, cool, earnest water into which we must dip our souls, our minds, because that is how we learn to find, to mind, to dig up slowly with purpose what it is we need to keep ourselves sane, sane to ourselves. I believe this still. Further, I know that a man was not less or more for me. He was just as he was. Tom came here first to find a job, to beat a path to our future together. I had grown much. I knew more than I wished to know, but life was as life is, and I knew that terrors were as great in the land that you know as they are great in the land that you do not, and I knew that as a stranger to a new tongue, I was cocooned in a manner that freed me, you see, that freed my thoughts, that freed me to the privacy of my soul, and I remembered the hunger for lusciousness I tasted. Hope, I tasted hope therein. So much to be cultivated. I packed and said my goodbyes when we had decided to leave. Mums didn't cry, nor did I. I had my fourth baby taking firm hold inside of me. I was a woman. I did not need her wrath and her heavy power, her grinding dignity. And my sister Mary cried. She loved her nephews and her niece so very much. We were never to see each other again. I was in love, you see, and we left. And it did not really matter why, not exactly, though while I folded mountains of laundry, I would think about why I wanted to leave with him, about why I loved as I did, about many things. I got a lot done, you know. I was quiet, I was reserved. I got a lot done. I had so much to do, so many things to finish. I still have much to do. I am not as quiet, and I think thoughts now without the same shame, without the same gravity. I live in a city where displaced natives, indigenous people stand on street corners, barefooted with small babies wrapped in sheets or towels, small dirty children, runny-nosed, fighting, playing, running about in filthy clothes, all of them holding milk or juice boxes, walking out into the traffic, shoving these ragged containers into the faces of drivers when the windows are open, or tapping on the glass when the windows are up, begging for money. One morning I dropped a few coins into one of the boxes. I had heard that when you give these women and children money, you are supporting their begging habit, and you are indirectly telling their children that it is okay to beg. All I wanted to do was to say without words to the young, beautiful, dirty-looking, baby-holding woman that for whatever reason I noticed her, and I noticed them. I had noticed the little life clinging to her. We want to be noticed. We don't necessarily want to be known, but we want to be noticed. I wanted this too, and it was not a fault, it is simply a fact, and how to have it occur is not as difficult as I'd imagined when I had learned to imagine at all. My voice. Tom noticed me for a time, chubby, tired, unattractive me. He was the first man to notice me, the only one I ever wanted to notice me. Now it has changed, and I didn't care if this seemed strange. He came, maybe, twice a year to put his hands on me. I kept having his children. Maybe I was mad. Yes, that was it. I'm mad. I'm mad, mad, mad. Aren't women all mad or desperate? Those words sounded easy rolling off my tongue, playing in my mind. But really, I was neither. I cared to be neither. I simply was as I was. I am as I am. This is good enough. Liquor bottles lined the shelves of many shops. I hated alcohol. It killed my 2 grandfathers. It will kill Tom. But it is as it is, isn't it? All this I still believe. People take drinks more and more and more. It then becomes a habit. The habit becomes like any other habit. I was in the habit of loving too much a man who was in the habit of leaving, and I have had the habit of being too serious. I didn't wish to smile many days at anyone, no one at all, but in my head there were stars and suns and ripe mangoes and all manner of possibility. I wondered if people who drank got their stars and suns and sweet mango from the liquor. I used to get my stars and suns from a place that was fleeting. That is change. I have never gotten them from a job. I have never had a career, and even if I did, I could not ever fathom how it is that individuals come to love a job. Oh, and I can work hard, but I do not wear this attribute, as some people call it, as a symbol of crowning glory. No, I love my children. I yearn to love myself, and the toy shop is the place to which I go to make money. And I was fortunate then as I am now, because the owner is kind and respectful, even as his brother is an absentee father and less than dependable with the coins that would make the acquiring of food and clothing less painful, less embarrassing, less stressful. And Palomo flies.